family wars, inheritance secrets, and the journey to make dreams come true of talented female CEO Margaret Anderson. Margaret Anderson has always felt like an outsider in her own family. Her parents, who are wealthy thanks to her grandfather's company, Anderson Technologies, have a special favor for her sister Claire, who has a prestigious MBA from Harvard and a confident demeanor that always comes first. Meanwhile, Margaret has to manage to complete her engineering degree on her own, work part-time in restaurants, and spend her free time studying online. When his grandfather died, his will created a big shock in the family. He left Margaret a 51% stake and control of Anderson Technologies, while Claire and her parents received a smaller share. The grandfather believed that Margaret, with determination and integrity, could lead the company through the challenge. However, the family did not accept this decision. Her father, with cold eyes, pushed the inheritance transfer document in front of Margaret. "Sign it, Margaret," he said. "Claire has a degree, experience. I can't run this company." Claire, sitting next to her, smiled mockingly. "You can stay in the R&D department. Do what you do best, make tools." Margaret felt her anger rising, but she kept her composure. Remembering her grandfather's words in the last months of her life, she knew he had seen in her what her family had not seen. A man who dared to dream big and was brave enough to make his dreams come true. She refused to sign the paper, which angered her family. While they despised her, Margaret knew she needed to stand up, not only to protect her rights, but also to keep her promise to her grandfather that she would take Anderson Technologies to a brighter future. Margaret Anderson held her head high, refusing to sign the inheritance transfer papers. "Grandpa chose me because he trusted me," she said, her voice steadfast. Claire laughed mockingly. Her parents were angry, but Margaret stood her ground. In that moment, she not only defended her inheritance, but also affirmed her self-worth in front of those who always looked down on her. However, the tension in the meeting room is not over. At that moment, James Morrison, the family's longtime lawyer, walked in with a strange woman. "This is Catherine Chen, CEO of Chentech Industries," he introduced. She was the mentor that Grandpa Margaret chose to guide her in running the company. Catherine Chen's appearance made the whole meeting room fall silent. With an authoritative look and a warm voice, Catherine walked over to shake Margaret's hand. "I've looked at your product development proposals," she said. "It's impressive. I look forward to supporting you in taking Anderson Technologies to the next level." Her parents and Claire strongly objected, saying that this decision was unreasonable. But James Morrison did not flinch. He put a USB stick on the table and said, "Before we continue, I have a video that Grandpa Margaret wants us to see." The screen in the conference room lit up and the image of Grandpa Margaret appeared, her voice full of determination. "Margaret, you know they're going to try to take away your rights, but I'm stronger than they thought. You chose me because I have the perseverance and integrity that this company needs." When the video ended, the room was as silent as a sheet. Margaret knew that her grandfather not only left her possessions, but also prepared everything for her to overcome the challenge. With Catherine as her mentor and her grandfather's meticulous preparation, Margaret felt she could fight for what she deserved for the first time. After his grandfather's video, everyone in the meeting room was shocked. James Morrison doesn't stop there. He opened a file containing evidence collected by Margaret's grandfather over the years. "Your grandfather predicted this," James said, looking directly at Margaret and Claire's parents. "So he prepared everything to protect her and the company." Margaret watched quietly as James presented each document. Evidence of embezzlement. Financial reports indicate that Margaret's parents secretly transferred company funds to personal accounts. Email selling technology. Claire has reached out to competitors to sell Anderson Technologies' proprietary technology, which could ruin the company's reputation. Plot to overthrow grandfather. Evidence that the family once tried to claim that Margaret's grandfather was incapacitated when he chose Margaret as his heir. Catherine Chen, Margaret's mentor, was not surprised. "Your grandfather told me about these things," she said. "He wants to make sure that she has the strength and resources to protect her legacy." While Margaret was still digesting these revelations, James continued. "Grandpa also left a safe deposit box. The The key she wore around her neck would open it. Inside is more evidence and detailed instructions from you. Margaret and Claire's parents were angry, but unable to refute. Margaret felt a new flow of power. With this evidence and support from Catherine, she understood that the family could not easily deprive her of her inheritance. "It's clear now," Catherine said, smiling at Margaret. "We have all it takes to move Anderson Technologies forward." Margaret looked at her family, who had spent their lives looking down on her. For the first time, she felt that she was no longer an outsider. Instead, she is at the center of a grand scheme, a plan to protect the company and herself. After the evidence was announced, the meeting room fell into a stifling silence. Margaret and Claire's parents sat motionless, trying to hide their confusion. But none of them could have expected that Margaret would not only hold on to her inheritance, but also be willing to fight to protect her grandfather's legacy. However, Margaret's family did not give up easily. A week later, during Margaret's first board meeting as CEO, they showed up unannounced, bringing with them a new trump card. Her father entered, accompanied by a man claiming to be Dr. Phillips, who was about to testify that Margaret's grandfather had lost his capacity to change his will. "We have proof that your grandfather is not sane enough," Father Margaret declared, full of smug contentment. "This will is not legal." Before Margaret could respond, Catherine Chen, her mentor, spoke up. "We also have an interesting video," she said, nodding to James Morrison. The screen in the conference room turned on, and the image of Grandpa Margaret appeared, healthy and lucid. In the video, he is chatting with Dr. Phillips himself, who is clearly confused by the sharp questions. "So you want me to declare myself incapacitated?" asked Grandpa Margaret, his voice calm. "And how much does my son pay you for this?" Dr. Phillips in the video was embarrassed and unable to answer. The video ends with a strong affirmation from him. Margaret will know who is trustworthy and who betrayed her. In the meeting room, the current Dr. Graham Phillips turned pale and left in a hurry. Margaret and Claire's parents had no excuses. "This company has no room for traitors," Margaret said, her voice full of determination. "Either leave in silence or face consequences that I'm sure you don't want." Faced with an irreversible choice, they were forced to sign a letter of resignation, ending their plot. Margaret not only defends her leadership, but also establishes herself as the one who leads Anderson Technologies forward. After her parents and Claire were forced to sign a resignation letter and accept to leave the company, Margaret Anderson officially became the CEO of Anderson Technologies. But she does not stop at protecting inheritance rights. With Catherine Chen's guidance, Margaret embarks on a new journey, reshaping the company and taking it to new heights. The first product Margaret introduced as CEO was an advanced line of medical devices that she had secretly developed during her time in R&D. Designed to improve patient experience and increase efficiency in healthcare, the product quickly received a warm reception from the market. In just 6 months, Anderson Technologies' stock value has doubled, making the company one of the leading names in the medical technology industry. Besides financial success, Margaret also focused on improving the company culture. She listens to the staff, resolving grievances that her family has previously caused. "We've never felt as respected as we are now," said one veteran employee. This not only boosts morale, but also improves the overall performance of the team. Margaret's family, after the plot was debunked, quietly left and moved abroad. Claire and her parents were allowed to retain just enough personal possessions to live comfortably, but not luxuriously. Margaret did not seek further revenge. She believes that her greatest success is preserving her grandfather's legacy and turning it into something more positive. While her parents and Claire live quietly elsewhere, Margaret heads a thriving company, proving that she is not only worthy of the role, but also capable of leading Anderson Technologies to greater achievements. Under Margaret Anderson's leadership, Anderson Technologies not only recovered, but also rose to become one of the leading medical technology companies. Her initiatives, from advanced medical devices to innovative software solutions, have transformed the way healthcare is done, helping patients and healthcare facilities become more efficient. However, Margaret's success doesn't just lie in the numbers. She focuses on building a humane and sustainable company culture, putting employees and community at the center. The grievances from the time of her parents' and Claire's rule were thoroughly resolved. Employees are not only more productive, but they also feel proud to be a part of the company. To honor her grandfather's and grandmother's legacy, Margaret established the Rose Anderson Memorial Scholarship. The fund supports work-study students, especially STEM pursuers, giving young people the opportunity to achieve their dreams without facing the financial hardship she experienced. The first recipient of the scholarship was Sally's daughter, Margaret's former manager at the cafeteria where she worked during her college years. Margaret's grandfather's house, which used to be used as an office, has now been preserved and turned into a community center that hosts free courses, workshops, and events for everyone. Margaret not only established herself as an excellent leader, but also a person who brought great value to society. Every Sunday morning, she sat in her grandfather's old office, looking at their photos from her graduation ceremony, a reminder of the hard start and the trust he had placed in her. Margaret's success is not just about money or power, but about meaning. For her grandfather was right. Seeing the potential in people and turning it into positive change is the greatest value. Margaret Anderson has taken Anderson Technologies to great growth. But for her, success isn't just about her finances or personal reputation. It's also how she uses her power and position to make a difference. The Rose Anderson Memorial Scholarship, named after her grandmother, has become a symbol of Margaret's commitment to education and community. The scholarship fund supports work-study students, especially those pursuing STEM fields. Margaret believes that talent should not be limited by financial circumstances, and her scholarship fund has provided opportunities for dozens of students to achieve their dreams. Sally, Margaret's former manager at the cafeteria where she used to work, couldn't hide her pride when her daughter was the first to receive the scholarship. Besides, Margaret's grandfather's old office was renovated into a community center, which hosts free classes and workshops for people in the area. This is not only how Margaret honors her grandfather's legacy, but also how she implements the life philosophy he once taught. True success is helping others reach their potential. Margaret is constantly looking for new ways to expand the company's positive influence. Every Sunday morning, she sits in her grandfather's office, looking at the photo of the two of them from her graduation, reminding herself that the greatest success is to uphold personal worth and inspire others. When an employee asked Margaret the secret to success, she smiled and replied, "Success is not what you achieve, but what you leave behind. And that always starts with integrity and compassion." Margaret knew that she had not only fulfilled her grandfather's legacy, but also created a legacy of her own, a testament to the fact that true meaning and value always exist in creating something good for the world. Margaret's legacy and inspiring journey. Margaret Anderson, after many years at the helm of Anderson Technologies, has not only affirmed her leadership ability, but also become a symbol of integrity, compassion, and perseverance in overcoming adversity. Under her leadership, Anderson Technologies has not only achieved financial success, but has also been recognized as an organization that brings great value to the community. The Rose Anderson Memorial Scholarship, named after Margaret's grandmother, is one of the initiatives she is most proud of. This scholarship not only provides financial support to students while working, but also helps them access opportunities in the STEM industry, an industry that Margaret believes can change the future. Margaret often participates in scholarship award ceremonies, meets and talks with students in person. "I used to be one of you," she said during a ceremony. "I understand how difficult it is to work and study at the same time, but I also know that perseverance and timely support can be life-changing." The first recipient of the scholarship was the daughter of Sally, the former manager at the cafeteria where Margaret worked as a student. Margaret always remembers that it was Sally who flexibly arranged her shifts, allowing her to complete her studies. Now, Margaret uses her position to ensure young people have the opportunity to achieve their dreams, just as she has been supported in the past. In addition to the scholarship, Margaret's grandfather's home was also converted into a community center, which hosts free classes and workshops on life skills, finance, and technology. Margaret often spends weekends here, attending events and listening to stories from participants. The center is not only a symbol of the Anderson family's heritage, but also a testament to Margaret's commitment to building a strong and vibrant community. But Margaret's greatest legacy doesn't lie in specific programs or accomplishments. It lies in the way she inspires those around her. Margaret's story, from someone who was looked down on by her family, seen as an outsider, to a successful CEO, has gone viral. Her employees feel proud to work at Anderson Technologies, not only for their financial success, but also for the culture of respect and human development that Margaret has built. Once, when asked about the secret to success, Margaret smiled and replied, "Success is not what you achieve, but what you leave behind for the world. And that starts with how you treat the people around you." Every Sunday morning, Margaret sat in her grandfather's old office, looking at the photo of the two from her engineering graduation. The photo is a reminder that everything she has achieved today is not only thanks to her own perseverance, but also thanks to the love and trust her grandfather has in her. Margaret knows that his legacy is not just a company or an asset, but a lesson that true value lies in making a positive difference in the lives of others. With each step forward, Margaret affirmed that success does not have to be at the expense of dignity or humanity. The legacy she left behind is not only for the Anderson family, but also for those who have been and will be inspired by her story.